Hello everyone, I'm here with John Stallman.
Aloha.
And we are going to give you guys a quick update this afternoon on what's happening with the volcano, which is not a whole lot. To kind of sum it up quickly, we are still on our kind of holding pattern here, waiting to see what comes next. Let me reposition myself here to try to get you in a frame occasionally as well. All right, it's better.
Thanks.
My coffee. So yeah, we are down here in Keaau today, just talking story about how the volcano plumbing kind of works. We gotta maybe give that to you guys, not quite today, you know, if it comes up we will, but we're kind of working on bringing it down for you guys.
My brain kind of hurts right now. Lots to think of.
We're gonna try to draw you guys some pictures, basically, you know. So we have the ideas, but we're trying to figure out how to share them with you guys the best way. So we'll keep working on that for you guys. In the meantime, I want to give you guys another brief update today, just kind of recapping what we're seeing, our signals of the volcano. There haven't been a whole lot of reports coming in as far as photographs that we've seen, you know, nothing noteworthy.
Not yet today.
No, so there's not much to cover there. We're basically just going to show you guys the tilt signals and talk a little story about, you know, what we are looking for and what that might actually mean. So thank you guys for joining us. Let me switch the camera around here and let's start off with our tilt, probably. Maybe earthquakes, huh? Earthquakes. So here you go, guys. Let's switch over and look at some earthquakes here. And we're outside, so I'll have to check out the, hopefully there's not too much glare here. But what we got going on here is the earthquake page for the USGS for the last 7 days, actually. And what we got going on here is not a whole lot of earthquakes happening today. Let's switch it to the ones that are actually from today. Oh look, we do have some today. Let's know we actually can pick them out. So, all right, we got down over here. Come on.
Bye, John.
Another deep earthquake in Pahala. Another 33 kilometer deep earthquake in Pahala. That follows a typical pattern. We got a couple up here at Halimau. Let me see if I can get them tapped. Finger's too big. There, that one is 1.8, close to the surface, 0.3 kilometers above sea level. The other one is pretty similar, also 1.8. So 1.8 in that one area right there. Let's back up here and scroll over to near the area of Kalapana. There's a couple down there. These ones are all both south flank earthquakes. That one is at 5 kilometer depth, 2.1, and the other one is at 2 kilometers depth, 2.0. So those are all kind of within that stack of the south flank, and you know there's not that many of them, but it does show the volcano is still adjusting. You know, kind of is almost always adjusting, in fact, from what happened before. So we don't see any signs of any activity coming through, you know, as far as magma or anything else like that. So earthquakes are one of the key pieces we're looking for, but they're not necessarily the only thing that we have to rely on. So we'll look at the summit also. We're still missing our summit tilt meter, so nothing to see there. Our East Rift Zone tilt meter. Let's look, as always, first at the scale here. So the scale of our plot is going from minus 0.1 to positive 0.25. 0.2, so we're about a 0.3 range right there, top to bottom. And what we're looking at is the past 2 days, and here at the very, very tail end from earlier this morning, we have a rapid rise, at least on a scale of what we see here on this plot, right? But looking from top to bottom, we actually see that there is only maybe about a 0.2 microradian difference in that signal, right? So that's still not anything big enough to consider that's conclusively magma. It could be various things. It could be some rain. There is some rain in the area based on the radar. There is some rain happening there, so I can't discount the fact there might be a localized thunderstorm, you know, causing some tilt signal there. It could also be, you know, increased gas, increased steam. It could be like some of the rocks on the edge of the crater wiggling and either slumping from the rain or from just the continuing collapse that's been going on out there. So those are all possibilities we're going to keep an eye on that. And if this thing, as usual, just to remind you guys, we got to look for something in a range of 5 microradians at least to kind of, be conclusive that something suspiciously abnormal, right? So let's look at the last week here at Kīlauea and just kind of recap our 2 big pulses of rain that came through. Here's a big one, right? And let's look at the scale from 0 to about minus 1.3, let's call it, right? So we have over a microradian right there in that 1 rain pulse. And then this next one right here goes from minus 0.5 up to almost 1.5, almost 2 microradians, just from the rain itself, kind of causing the signal to change. And the signal we're seeing today so far is that little blip right there at the end. So let's get this thing moving, a little blip right at the end, yeah. So it's really not much compared to what we've seen before. It could totally be the rain still. It could totally be just some gas coming out or something like that. So nothing conclusive there. Although we always are a little extra alert when we see the thing going up. So we will keep our eye on it and see what happens from there. But as it is right now, we don't see any signal conclusively of any change significant on a volcano apart from the ongoing kind of continued settling and collapse, sagging of the thing right there. Zooming out, still our flatline signal. We don't see anything in the GPS today. We talked about the signal yesterday, and they're all kind of show that same pattern. A little bit of wiggle, but we see a lot of this kind of wiggles happening through here also. There could be some little bit of wiggling before the big events that we're theorizing might be the gas escaping potentially, or some kind of wiggling in the ground where it goes back to its original place.
Yeah, our discussions about this signal so far is pointing more to gas. It makes more sense if we're looking at the gas being as the culprit for this movement, because it'd be difficult if there were liquid lava under there causing the motion. It wouldn't go right back to the same spot. So probably a function of gas, we're thinking. So yeah, that's our thinking. We know most likely culprit given the data that we have. So we'll have to wait and see. If we have any more information. We would love to know if at the same time as this event happened, if there was measurements of gas at the summit that spiked, CO2 or SO2 or any, whether in absolute values or any relative proportionally as well. We'd like to know that. But of course, this all happened right during the rainstorm, right? So we know that event was not, whether it was measured or not, it was not reliable. And we have to wait for the next one to happen, and it might be another 10 days before that actually comes around. So we'll have to wait and see. This may be, one of these first signals of, gas collecting in the summit area, but we have to really wait and see something more conclusive than we know right now. We just don't know enough at this point. And that's what we talked about yesterday. We don't see any change yet, but just kind of recap that pattern for you guys. Looking at the tilt over here at the lower East Rift at the Kīlauea, we don't see any big difference there either. We're still basically in flatline stage, within a scale of this. And we talked about Keaau already. Our seismograph at the summit at Kīlauea is still offline, so we don't see any kind of tremor up there for the last over a day now. But the one over in the lower rift is still happening, is still updating. And you guys can see there was like a pulse of a little bit more, a harmonic tremor in between all these earthquakes, and a little bit less. And right here at the bottom, in the last few hours, we've actually had a lot more gas coming out. So whether that's from increased steam, I'm not sure. Actually, Harry's telling us right now there's no steam coming out of Fissure 8, but there's smoky fumes. So thank you, Harry. Thanks for your contribution there, your update. So I'm not sure. It's not steam then. Maybe it's something bubbling underground, not escaping or flowing through there. Or he said it looked like gas fumes?
He said that there were not any gas fumes, right?
Oh,
out of 8, yeah. So, but we'll have to wait and see, because this station is not in Leilani. It's actually uprift several miles. So it could be that what was happening here may not translate. One thing that we've described as well when we saw the big pulse of gas at Keaau is how the gas wants to travel uphill actually against the flow of the magma in the rift zone. So it could be that the gas, that's being generated in an area downslope from here is all kind of moving through here on the way to Keaau to escape up that way. That's a possibility as well. In any case, it's likely gas movement. It's not enough. We can still see little white line gaps between these blue signals. So normally when you have magma, it's shaking so much that you actually see
almost like a solid, like almost right here is like a solid bar of blue without any of these little white gaps in between. So there is increased tremor, but it's not as much as, it's not like extremely alarming just by itself, but something else we're keeping an eye on that might be signs of some changes. Things are definitely moving in there, but whether there's significant eruption changing, that's what we're really trying to nail down for you guys here, and we don't see that conclusively yet.
And the other reason it's not alarming is because we know that we've seen some periods of tremor since this pause has been going on. We've already seen that tremor kind of come and go at about this level, so it might be more of that, more of the same. And again, we're looking for multiple lines of evidence, and we can't react as soon as some evidence comes in. We need some consistency and some magnitude to these things before we can make any kind of inference about what it's telling us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, great point. Yeah, so we have seen this before with that lava coming out. And that's most of what we got. There's been a new video from the USGS released today, a time lapse of the summit. So we'll show you guys here. I know it's some glare, but I just shared this on my feed. You guys can see the summit lava lake, big collapse happening right there. And then once all the fume clears, you can see the back wall. You guys can watch as that drops in. So it's fascinating.
Just incredible.
Yeah, view of the summit. And one thing I wanted to point out is in the last few frames here at the back end, it actually seems to stop moving. Yeah, let me go backwards. Let's watch that again. All right, so here, lava lake stage.
The first part of the collapse, it really got moving. When the crater first started to really collapse, that whole section to the west just came right down.
Watch this little lip right in there. It's moving down, 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 parked. So that's when we saw that change in our GPS from the steep descent to the flatlining, right? So that's what we got. And that's basically all the, we don't really have any other visuals to show you guys. We don't have any other kind of tilt signal.
Not yet.
Right now, yeah.
We're gonna draw pictures next time.
We're gonna draw pictures for you guys, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna keep it short for you guys today. There's not a whole lot to report besides that.
Yep.
And we will update you guys hopefully tomorrow. Possibly tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll try and meet up tomorrow. Get a better whiteboard, because we've been discussing a lot. The question, as always, is where is the magma? And we've discussed through today a lot of really important scenarios, come up with a few different ideas about it. But I like what Phil said yesterday, actually, like, well, there might still be magma, but we can't see it out of the surface, and that's good. Like, we're not seeing it. That means it's not imminent that it's going to arrive anywhere. And at a different time, we can talk about our theories about where it might actually be going or what might be happening. And when we do that, we can talk about what the future scenarios might be for the eruption. But we can't get that far today. I wanted to give some safety information from yesterday. We didn't quite cover. I mentioned that if you're in the area near the fissures in Leilani or my friends below in Keaau and those areas that have Pele's hair and tephra, I mentioned treat it like it's real, but a lot of people don't really know how to treat it as a concern. And what you need is gloves if you're working in the garden, and protect yourself from the dust that the crunched reticulite makes and the broken Pele's hair. Wear a face mask if you're moving materials that are outside. And a lot of people have actually been mowing their lawns, and the reticulite's not like real cinder, it just chops right up into dust.
Into dust, yeah.
And so it's glass dust. And so if you're gonna do something like that with weed whacking or mowing a lawn that has the reticulite, it can be done, but you're gonna want a mask and goggles, not just safety glasses, a goggle that reaches to your face with foam or whatever, because that glass dust can get into your eyes and stuff. The other thing a lot of people are dealing with is the catchment water pH. Some people getting catchment under 3, and there's not a lot you can do with baking soda, that stuff, but I wanted to mention one thing you can do is if you have the available water, you can drain a lot of your catchment tank while we're having all these big rains from the storms. And if you drained even half of your catchment tank and refill, automatically help your pH in one dose. So if you have the capacity to do that, that's a way to help people start dealing with the acids in their catchment water.
If you're not living at your place and you can drain it all the way and refill it all the way.
Just drain it all the way and start again, because we know there's less gas. Even if you're in an area that occasionally gets a whiff of gas right now, it won't be affecting your catchment tank in the way it was for the past few months. So if you can empty it and refill, you'll end up with better pH water, because some people have like really, really acidic water, and it's actually not good to be drinking it or even bathing it in it.
Watering your plants, you know, you're gonna kill your plants that way.
And beyond that, literally goggles and face masks to deal with the dust, because it can get right in your eyes.
I myself use swim goggles, like you know, you can get the ones that have like the high visibility, like the biggest area.
Yeah.
And those ones go right against, you know, you don't have to be super tight, like you're going like underwater. But you can use that, and like that's the way that not even any gas can get in. Yeah, so it's kind of weird to, like, you know, mow your lawn with swim goggles, but that's what we're suggesting.
Yeah, it'll get better later, and a lot of these environmental things will reset over time. It's just be aware that when you're first trudging into the reticulite tephra covered area, just be real aware of the dust. And some of the Pele's hairs can be mean, big thick ones will get stuck in your skin, so wear gloves. And that might just be a precaution you need to be used to having for some time now, until the environment starts to rinse and break those things away. Break those things down and rinse them away.
Right. We'll wrap it up pretty quick, but I see a couple of comments here. One is want to say someone wishes to have electric so they can turn on a tank again. You could probably siphon your water out.
Yeah, siphon.
So get someone who's done that before to you basically just need an empty garden hose, and you put the whole thing all the way in the water, like there's no bubbles of gas in it anywhere, and then basically crimp the ends, you know, and then pull the end out and put it at a lower elevation than the water level inside the tank, and then you can get the water to flow out by gravity. So that's a good way to do it. Dane's suggesting rubber boots as well.
Rubber boots,
yeah, which is a good idea. And yeah, you guys can get pH gauges at the hardware stores in town. Check your water, that kind of thing. Particle masks. And yeah, let's leave it at that, because I gotta go pick up my kids from school.
Yeah, okay.
My alarms went off, so thank you guys for joining, and we'll get back with you guys again tomorrow. And hopefully we'll have some spiffy illustrations that may or may not be correct, but we'll give it our best shot.
Yeah, it'll be helpful. It'll be fun.
We'll discuss how they're wrong if they're wrong, and you know how they might be right, and that kind of thing. And you guys can join us in the discussion of that. But for now, we will sign off with our typical.
Stay classy, Puna.